Hello, folks, and welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. I'm your host, Carl, and seated beside me over here is Rex. How you doing, Rex?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great, great. And everybody listening, Denise will be running just a few minutes late and everything, but she will be on here tonight. And we do have a guest down here in the green room. We'll be bringing up her here in a little bit. But Rex, anything been going on this week with you?
Uh, no, actually, it's been kind of a quiet week. I did some work on the outside of my house and been getting stuff ready here to make this more of a studio.
Right, right. Oh, you're doing good. Hey, man, everybody loves the background. You got them guitars up there and everything. That's what you got to do one night is you got to talk about some of the guitars you got.
Yeah, we're deciding, which way we're going to go for this Saturday,
Right, right,
and the one after that, that's gonna be a total surprise.
right. Well, I guess we'll bring up Lauren Moss, our
All
guest
right.
tonight and everything, and we'll bring her up on the screen. Hello, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
And how are you doing this fine Tuesday?
Well, now that you said it's Tuesday, it's been the longest week ever.
Yeah, it has. It's a long week over here at the Bill of Rights Network. I mean, we have shows Monday through Saturday on here that I produce and help with. So, yeah, it's been a long, long week. But tell our listeners, like I said, I just met you a few minutes ago and everything. I haven't done hardly any research or anything on you. Denise knows all that. So she'll be here in a little bit and she'll have a lot of questions for you. But if you want to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and everything, that'd be great.
Well, my name is Lauren, and I'm a generational psychic medium. And it's an ability I've had all my life that I didn't realize that's what it was all my life. Didn't realize that's what it was until I was 18 and started training. And then life has happened. I've gotten married. I've had a child, and started looking back a few days ago and realized I've been in the paranormal field for almost 22 years and didn't really realize how much of that time has gone by.
Right.
But yeah, that's just the basics of
How old were you when you first had decided or had your first paranormal experience?
in hindsight, that would have been with my imaginary friends that weren't so imaginary. But the actual experience would have been at the age of 5. The age of 5, when I knew that my grandfather had died 3 weeks later. I saw him being rolled out. I knew he had died.
Right.
But I walked past his bedroom that still hadn't been, we still hadn't converted it or anything.
Right.
And he was still sitting on his bed. And so I just went in there and started playing Ants in the Pants with him. And my dad didn't know who I was talking to. Walked by and saw a yellow ant in the pants, one of those little plastic things, just fly without anyone touching it into the bucket. And he asked who I was playing with, and I said, Grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Bit.
was he one of the type? Was your parents the type to say, "Don't tell anybody that you see this stuff," or be quiet about it?
Not my dad. Not really. They just didn't. My dad wasn't in. My dad believed in the paranormal, but he wasn't one that talked about it. And my mom has abilities, but she never really told anybody about them. So it wasn't hush hush, but it was one of those experiences where if I said something, it was like no one listened.
Right.
And
They
when
just kind of let it
yeah,
go by. Yeah. Yeah. I know my granddaughter has the ability. She's had it since she was little, and she's 17 now, and still sees them
mm-hmm.
and stuff. But her mom always told her, "You're just seeing things." Oh, I see Denise has popped up in the green room. She made it.
Yeah, barely.
Barely.
Oh,
I know. What's up?
Alive.
Oh, that didn't look good.
What?
Actually, I probably should go put that back on. I'll be back.
Okay.
Good. Still bleeding?
Yeah.
Yeah, she bleeding. Hey, Ron.
Hello, everyone.
Ron.
We just got here.
That's what she said. And I see the cat made it in too.
Oh yeah,
That cat
Yeah,
only
they-
shows up on that desk during paranormal shows.
yeah.
That's the only time that cat shows up.
It is. They know it's on camera.
It showed up last night on Denise's show.
Yep.
So, but anyway, yeah, I know how that is for the younger ones. Now, I don't have any of these abilities, but I'm an investigator and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I've known Denise here for, I think we figured up 7 years now. And what she has seen and told me, and I know, yeah.
it's crazy.
So, hey,
So,
let's hear. We'll get to Lauren. Denise going to tell us something here, I think.
okay. So, I had people ask me why I was in the ER. So, needless to say, I just went at 2:00 to the doctor. I get to the doctor and they go, "We can't help you. Go downstairs. Your heart rate's too high." It was 158. And at 11:30 this morning, I had a meeting, and during the meeting, I started getting a little antsy and other things. And started not feeling right during this meeting. Okay. So, and yeah, I drink tea. It's unsweet tea. So not a problem. I ate, I drank, I did everything I was supposed to do. Couldn't get my heart rate down. So at 2:00, I call Ron and I tell him I'm going to the doctor. He calls me while I'm at the doctor. I tell him that I'm going to the ER. So he meets me at the ER and they get me in right away. Thank goodness it was not a very busy ER, or we all know where this could have ended up.
Yeah.
So they get me in, they get me all hooked up, and they go, we're going to do an EKG. And they do the EKG, and they go, your heart rate's too high for us to tell anything from this. So we're going to have to give you medication to get your heart rate down to see what's going on. So needless to say, they gave me a bunch of medication, and, well, 2 things, and it brought it down. From there, they went ahead and they did an X-ray and another EKG and said, you had an atrial flutter. So the top of my heart was just going like this. Couldn't catch up. Wasn't getting enough oxygen in my blood.
Uh-huh.
So that's what happened. It could have been a lot worse if I had not paid attention to my body's signals. So everybody out there, you start feeling your heart pounding like that, make sure you do something about it. Don't just assume it's nothing and keep on going.
Well, that's what they did to my brother down at Leavenworth. He went in to get checked, and his numbers weren't right on the top and bottom of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
They go, okay, no problem. We're going to stop your heart and restart it.
What? That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
They stopped his heart, and then they call my sister-in-law and go, guess what? Your husband's getting in right now to have a pacemaker put in. It wouldn't restart right.
No kidding.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
So needless to say, it was a very interesting day. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that I didn't have
In
to.
more ways than one.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to call you on, first of all, on the road, or second of all, from the hospital bed, because, those gowns are not flattering at all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but then also, while I was in the hospital there, I got a message from last night's guest. And he said he wanted to thank us and wanted to thank me for using my psychic power and to let him know that his wife has moved on. That was really worrying him.
Psychic or
Right.
psycho?
It's psycho.
Oh,
I have
So I
constant
thought-
paranormal activity around me, and I wasn't sure if it was my wife, if my wife was part of it or not. So- Yeah, she's been hiding.
Oh, there she is.
So you put my mind at ease, letting me know that you cannot detect her presence around me, and you think that she has moved on. So a big thank you for that. And then he sent me a picture. Let me see if I can get that to come up because I just got here, so I just thought it was kind of neat, considering that it's related to what we were talking about last night.
Oh, really?
Yep. And Lauren, if you see anything in here you want to say anything about, please let me know.
Okay.
Yes.
Because this show isn't about me,
No.
contrary
no.
to popular belief right now. It's
Usually,
not about
usually
me.
we don't have this type of excitement coming in just when
No.
she
It-
walks in.
I will say, Denise, that explains why I kept feeling like my heart was going racing a little bit today.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like I said, it's not normal for me. I do have a health issue that is considered a heart issue, but it's not like that. Usually I just cough and it solves the problem. So it's just kind of weird that it wasn't working today.
No.
He also told me to strain like I got a poop. That's another way to get that to go away. The heart palpitations. So
If
here's
you
the picture
strain, that puts strain on your heart.
apparently not. It's one of those things that will putting that pressure on there helps that. So here's the picture that he shared. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, here's what he said about this picture. Here's an example of what I mean. I photographed a group of ghosts standing right outside my house by my bedroom window. So I am haunted, not in a bad way, but I'm glad that my wife has moved on as she promised she would. And he said, it was a fun interview and thanks again. But how's that for odd? And remember, he lives in Williamsburg.
Bring that up a little bit closer, Denise. I want to see something here. Or
Let's
can
see.
you?
I think that's about as big as I can make it.
Okay. You see the one on the far left in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that look like the one that was holding his hand over the lady's mouth?
Mm-hmm. What about this?
That's an alien.
Yeah, that's alien.
What about and then this one and this one and these? I mean, that is a lot of stuff to be found in a photograph.
Yes, it is. I mean, my God, they're down there at the bottom, over to the left, over the other way, there, up, right there. You got that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then go diagonal that one, and then go down. No, down.
Right. Yeah, you got this one, 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 this one. They all look very similar. They all look like possible aliens.
Yeah. But that was taken right outside his window.
Yeah. Because you can see the steps. This looks like steps here to a door, and then here's a window.
Yeah.
And this is a street house light.
When did he say he took his picture?
Last night.
Last night?
Last night.
While we were doing the show?
Right after the show.
I don't like the one in the back.
The one in the back, I believe, actually, gave the guy, I said, I feel like that one killed that one. And he told us the story, and that's what they believe happened as well. In this house where he took this picture, the house was not had no known reported hauntings, no known reported deaths, nothing like that. But again, like I said, it's in Williamsburg, Virginia. So the history there goes back to, the 1400s.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you have there? I don't know.
But them two on the left at the top, the one in the very background, and then the woman out in front, they still remind me of that photograph he showed last night.
Like the woman in white that he had there.
Yeah.
The one that I said looked like it was
in Warrensburg or
Williamsburg
out there. Yeah. Did they follow him?
Right.
Yeah.
And they look like they're from different time periods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Well, actually, the lady now looks like she's got clothes on to where that other picture she didn't.
No. The thing is this hairline here looks like my grandma. I'm just saying. So.
But look at the alien. Those have to be aliens.
They are.
That's the only thing I can say is they look like small grays.
They're gray. In fact, the one that's by the stairs, I guess that's what we're calling them,
Right here.
looks exactly like one of the ones I've dealt with.
Well,
Really.
there you go. Now we've got something to talk to you about. So you've been dealing with aliens as well.
But I got a question for all of you. What would you do if you seen that outside your window? Actually, what would you do if you seen that?
I don't know.
Because I know you two down at the bottom have the gift to be able to see stuff like that.
Well, that's usually a normal day for me. Sands are great.
Seeing like stuff like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't usually see that many at one time, but there are times that I do.
Now, you have seen them when that time happened, when they all came and said goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good amount of, when they say goodbye, they can come in groups too.
That's a whole other
they
story. That's one of my personal stories that, I'll tell you sometime. But like I said, this was directly related to the show I did last night. And I thought that people might, if they saw last night's show, I just thought it was nice first of all, for him to tell me that it was nice, that he felt that I was right, that his wife had moved on. So, and then he sent me this picture. And like I said, I just thought I could share it, and maybe, other people out there, maybe you guys can share your photos with us or with Tim Skull Lion, so he can, tell you what he's, accentuate them so that they can be seen better, whatever. But he's got 3 books on just Williamsburg and Virginia alone on ghost photos he's taken at places. And, the few pictures they got at Pennhurst were intriguing, to say the least. So, I don't know. But like I said, I thought I'd share that with you guys and see what you thought.
That blows me away. What do you think, Rex?
That's impressive. I mean, all that's going on in there, it's
the photos he gets to capture. I mean, yeah, Pastor Gary does a lot of photos, but we never capture stuff like that.
What concerns me are the grays. They shouldn't be congregating that many around.
Okay, I got a question then. Why would the gray aliens be with the spirits?
That's a good question, because they usually.
Because usually an alien's an alien.
Well, they can also be on the same plane.
Oh, well, you know what? Aliens have been here a really long time.
Yeah.
Same as ghosts. So if we look at it from that standpoint, maybe
it's different species. So I guess you really can't say an alien is an alien.
Right.
so.
And like I said, appeared to be different species of aliens in there too.
Right.
Not just grays.
Yeah, I mean I do see some that look like the Pleiadians. I think that's how you say it.
You know more about the alien stuff than I do.
One of them looked like they were Lyran.
Just a second. Sorry, my boss is messaging me. She apparently got off of her drugs from her dental work and now is sending me messages. They don't know nobody knows I was in the hospital today. So
not unless they're watching the show.
So it's all good. So
Lauren, you have this ability to see the spirits too, then.
Yes,
Okay.
fun times.
And you can you turn it on or off?
Yes, I
Oh,
have to. I have to. I have to. I've learned that if I don't get any bit of a normal life. Now,
well,
it's
I bet.
not saying that I don't have someone always talking in my ear or trying to get my attention or
Now, like Denise always says, Walmart is the worst place to go. Does that happen to you a lot?
oh, there's no Walmart. Yeah, that
Target,
Target.
wholesale club. Oh, Whole Foods is even worse than than Walmart, to be honest.
Sam's is pretty bad. Costco. But I have to turn it off when I'm in there or else I can't be around people. I can't do it. I can't even like a movie theater. If it's a packed movie theater and I call it dropping out of the force or dropping in. I don't drop out of the force. I'm going to be bombarded by not only everybody's living, all the dead, all the entities, all the attachments, energies too, and I become claustrophobic. I
It can
literally
be that way.
start breathing. I can't stop. I can't start getting a breath of air. It just feels like everything's just closing in on you. But that's what happens when you're like the brightest flame in the darkest room and you're attracting all the moths.
That's kind of like today. That's kind of how I felt again. I mean, similar to how I was feeling today is sometimes how you feel when you're in an area where there's a lot of ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up a little bit. It's not like it's being in a room full of spirits is not a calming thing.
No, it's not.
And so needless to say, don't ignore your heart stuff thinking that it's just spirits. It's not, it's paranormal, because it's not always. So don't.
No.
So I know better, because what did I do? I went to the doctor and there was something wrong. But there was another time that I had, I went to the doctor. I had a heart attack, they said, but it was 2 weeks after I had the heart attack. So I think I told you this, Carl, when we were at the pepper mill. That's where it happened. I apparently had a heart attack when I was there. But the next day, when I got up, I wasn't feeling well. And I just kind of laid around the house, just figured I had the flu, overtired, whatever. And so on Sunday, so this was a Friday, then a Saturday, and Sunday morning I got up and I told Ron, I said, I'm going to the doctor. I don't feel good. And yeah, I drove myself to the doctor, couldn't see straight, couldn't really hold my head up, nothing like that. But he didn't know how bad I was feeling either.
Right.
Because if I don't feel bad, the only way he knows that I feel bad is when I say, I got to go to the hospital.
Right.
So needless to say, we go to the doctor. I go to the doctor. They tell me I have a severe inner ear infection. It's going to take me 2 weeks to get over it or more. I wasn't getting any better. Ron takes me back to the doctor and says, something's not right. I think you guys need to check her heart. And when they checked my heart, they go, you need to see a cardiologist. That's how I got a cardiologist that I get to go to see this week. And this was 8 years ago that this happened. Actually, yeah, it was 8 years ago. And the doctor said, we believe that you had a heart attack. It's a little hard to tell, but based on your symptoms and based on your stress test, you don't have any damage from that heart attack, but you had a heart attack. And I said, are you sure? I said, is it possible that it was brought on by paranormal activity? Because that night, I swear, I insisted to Ron, okay, Atchison to my house is 90 miles. And I told him, I said, I am not staying in Atchison. I've got to go home. This was 2:00 in the morning. So you figure by the time we got home, it was, 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
We were lucky. But I insisted that we went home. And well, that's because the Atchison Hospital sucks. Okay. Sorry to say that, but it does.
It
I'm
does.
not going there. And but again, like I said, nobody knew that I had a heart attack. But again, was it, since they didn't find any evidence of it, but all the symptoms said heart attack, was it paranormal activity that caused me to be sick for 2 weeks? So
Right.
that one I kind of wrote off, but this one I can't. I was sitting in my own house. So
Right.
it's just one of those things. But I mean, have you witnessed, I'm going to ask all of you this, have any of you witnessed paranormal illness? I don't know what you call it. Paranormally induced illness?
I've had paranormal hangovers.
That's different.
Well,
I
that
think
could be a sickness because, boy, you feel like crap.
Oh yeah, you're just exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we've all experienced paranormal hangovers, but something that was actually caused by spirit. Not alcohol, Carl. Not alcohol.
Oh,
I saw that hard lemonade last night.
it was good, too.
Yeah, if I didn't just get pumped full of crap, I'd be drinking something right now. What is that? Hard
Don't
lemonade?
worry about what's in that.
I got
Well,
this really good stuff that I want to try. I
It
can't.
tastes like a little orange and a little coconut.
Okay. Well, I have to show you what I got. I got some Old Smoky drink mix. It's a mixed drink. It's it's blackberry lemonade moonshine drink. And then I got another one from Sugarlands that is peach mango.
Ooh.
Ooh, they Leah says that they're really heavy in the liquor department, but they're their drinks are only supposed to be like 8, between 5 and 8%, so it's
Right.
it can't be that bad. And but I'll tell you, last week I was having a bad day on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? One of those days I had one of those little Old Smoky shots that was banana pudding.
Oh, those are
11:19 in the morning.
Yeah.
I drank that down. And I was like, it's only one shot. I work from home. Who's going to know?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like it's going to make me drunk.
No.
I'd have to drink at least 5 of them to get drunk. So, but I do have a whole bottle. I mean, I do have a whole quart, but I did want to try the little one before I opened the big one.
Right. Right.
Did you see that Bailey's has a pina colada now?
Oh, I did.
I can't find it. But Old Smoky has, get this, they got a pina colada moonshine with pineapples in it.
Mm.
Ooh.
That's what I gave to Farrah for their wedding night. Farrah Rose is I went to her wedding. She's a demonologist out of Springfield. And that's what I brought for her wedding gift. Was moonshine. And we had to go back and buy one for us. So I haven't had that yet.
Here's a question. Or is it demonic attacks towards people who are putting forth truth?
You mean the health issues?
I
That's very possible. I mean, people can put a curse on you, send stuff after you easily enough.
right.
So I'm gonna let Lauren talk some because I invited her on here.
Yeah, you invited her.
I'm gonna go get another drink because
Okay.
I am a little dehydrated. They wouldn't give me anything to drink in the hospital.
Right.
Supposed to.
I know they wouldn't.
They wouldn't. She does, but anyway, so
So my thing is, what is your opinion on, say, the haunted locations that have the reputation of 1 or 2 of the same illnesses that come through there a year that investigators have, like Octagon Hall?
I'd have to know their previous health conditions before they went there and stuff. But as far as getting it in there, it depends on. I'm not familiar with that location, but I know, just like Denise will tell you, a lot of her health conditions has came from the Sally house because of the black mold that was up there. And for 7 years of them doing tours up there, she breathed in a lot of it.
Mm. I'm sorry.
Well, I ended up with a lung, well, not a lung nodule. Apparently, I have multiples, but one big one that they biopsied back in 2018.
Yep.
And when they biopsied it, they clipped the outside of my lung, and I ended up with a collapsed lung.
Right. But
So,
Lauren asked Denise that question that you just asked.
These locations that are tied to having one or two, I'm going to say investigators because it seems to, you seem to hear it about investigators. People who come in and they have the exact same thing happen to them, identical, and it's a yearly thing. Once to about 5 times a year in the same location.
What happened?
So what kind of health issues are they having?
Well, this one particular, I think it's the Octagon Hall.
Mm-hmm.
They have now had 3 investigators, separate teams, come in and have a stroke on top of a heart attack.
Okay. That's not good.
And this happened yearly.
I know there's a lot of places where people end up coming out, a couple weeks later being diagnosed with pleurisy.
Mm-hmm.
That's an infection irritation between the outer lung and the inside the lung wall. So the outer lungs here, the inner walls here, and then there's irritation in this part. And I had that multiple times from being up there at the Sally house. Octagon Hall probably has black mold. It wouldn't surprise me.
A lot of these places with the
Do.
that they're in.
Yeah, and the thing is if they don't get mold remediation in there, it's a danger to people, and people don't even realize it. Just like Old South Pittsburgh had a huge mold and fungus problem until Ronnie D bought it. Ronnie D got all that crap out of there. I mean, the fungus on the walls was out of the wall, from the wall 5 to 6 feet. And I actually had one of the investigators that was supposed to go there. They got down there and they said, "I'm not paying for this," and turned around and left.
I don't blame them.
That was before Ronnie D bought it. And so these they have to have a lot of, let's see, I think if you're going to own a location, you need to be responsible and make sure that location is safe for people to be coming in there. Because one of the places that Rex goes, the let's see, what is it called? Edinburgh. It was in really bad shape at one point.
Yes,
and
it
then
was.
then they cleaned that up, and now I'm more than willing to go there. But if I know a place has black mold because of my issues, I'm not going.
Right.
I don't blame you.
So we're going to Ashmore. I hope I get to still go. I'm going to be wearing a mask if I'm in the lower floors because I know that there's mold there. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So especially if it's been wet, if it's dry, we're fine. But if it's wet, then, well, actually, if it's dry,
if it's dry, you'll have more dust particles with mold in it flying around.
Right. So like I said, I might be fine, but I still have to wear a mask on that lower floor.
Right.
So, because it's not, I mean, if the building was airtight, it'd be a whole different ball game. I would, the dust particles would leave the building at some point. But in the upper floors, I don't have to worry about it too much. It's heavy enough to where it stays on the bottom floor. But I wish there was some way that.
I wish we had more information on that. Why would 3 investigators or 3 people like that either have strokes or heart attacks after that location? That's the question there.
Right. And what did
we don't know their health before they went in there.
Right. We don't know
now,
that. There's a lot of unknowns.
Age?
were these the same investigators time and time again that came in there and kept having multiple strokes or heart attacks?
It's different ones, and it's a yearly thing. And that's
The same time of the year, the investigators that go in there end up having the stroke or heart attack.
It's not specific times. It's just different times of the year, but it's a yearly thing.
I don't know. Like I said, without more data.
Yeah, you'd have to have more finding out who the people are, what their health was beforehand. Because, like I said, any of us can have a stroke or a heart attack at any.
Not to mention environmental factors. Denise tried. Thanks.
And the investigators could have got the crap scared out of them and had a stroke or a heart attack.
And we don't know the location either.
Yeah, I've never been there, so I don't know.
Where is that location at?
Southern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's just north of the Tennessee line. It's not too far into Kentucky at that. I think it's Hebron.
Yeah.
See? Couldn't have asked me that 2 hours ago because my mind was everywhere. But yeah, like I said, without more data, I can't make I can't even make an educated guess.
No.
Here's a question in the chat room over that photo that we looked at earlier.
Here, let's see here.
If you look at the photo, is it possible there's another avenue? What if I see others gathered behind the foreground figures as they are drawing energy from the spirits and aliens? Is that possible? Like leeches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Totally.
is.
Real good question, D. Lee.
So you guys are seeing aliens in that?
Yeah, right here.
You didn't see aliens in that
I
picture?
she didn't blow it up. She showed me on her phone.
He saw it while we were in the hospital. So
Yeah.
and
on
he
her
was
stupid little
Yeah.
phone.
and he was on the phone.
Lauren, you said you seen 3 different types of aliens?
There.
Okay.
I have to see it again.
Oh
but
yeah. I see some.
These
see
look
some
like
now. Wow,
like
that's weird.
Pleiadians, like the ones that Tina sees.
But Ron, what would you do if you seen that outside your window?
What would I do?
Yeah,
I couldn't see it.
I couldn't either, but
Well, we're saying that this looks like the guy that looked like he was strangling the woman. The one that I said would look like the guy was naked, but it was like
I'm
the
in
woman
the
was
background.
Yeah.
Like
But remember that picture on the side of the house? So those look related.
See, you and Lauren probably see that stuff. Me and Carl don't. So
No.
don't worry about it.
no, we don't see it. But if they tell me they see it, then I start going, okay.
Yeah, then you're a little more aware anyway.
That's right. Asbestos in the old buildings too has a lot to do with health issues and
I know that's what Crescent's going to face is the asbestos issue.
Oh yeah, that's huge, especially in buildings built prior to 1960.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the upper left, the top, top left. Yeah,
That's the one we were saying. Looks like the guy that was
That's-
strangling that other one.
yeah. That
That's-
one's weird looking.
Yeah.
Weird looking, good.
so what other good questions you got there, Lauren? That like that one you just brought up. That was an interesting question because we never really think of stuff like that.
I've been filled with so many good questions today. Like, here's a good one that I proposed on TikTok earlier. Is you've got all these people in residential cases that are suffering major things, and it's causing them to have, I call it, spiritual PTSD. Where are the support groups for those individuals?
That's us. We're the people that listen to them because
Yeah.
when you think about it, nobody in mainstream can really help them. They want to give them medication,
Mm-hmm.
put them away for mental health care,
Yeah.
or send them to the doctor and go, hey, what's wrong? Is there, if you say you're seeing stuff, they want to get your eyes checked. They want to get your head examined. They want, all these other things. If you tell them that you're hearing voices, well, guess what? You're getting your head checked again. But the thing is when it comes right down to it, before we can help them, they have to help themselves on that part too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you have to rule out the fact that there might be
Mental issues.
mental, because we did have one in Cameron, Missouri, that had some mental health issues that there, until she got help, there was no way we could help her.
Right.
So, and she didn't want to hear that she didn't have anything going on.
No.
There was no, sometimes you can't convince them, even as a paranormal investigator and having experiences and being able to see spirits. Sometimes we can't convince them because somebody else told them back to the, you have a demon, and now we have to spend all of our time proving that you don't.
Right. Right.
So, or somebody told them they have a ghost, and then we have to spend all our time going, no, you don't.
Or you show up over there and they look around and they go, well, where's the TV cameras and all that? I've had that happen twice.
Oh yeah.
Have you had that happen at all, Lauren?
Oh yeah.
So like I said, for the people who have real paranormal
Where's
PTSD,
your camera crew?
we are their help.
First
We're
question.
the only ones that are not going to look at them like they're crazy. The bad part is even if they have mental health issues, we're not going to look at them like they're crazy.
No.
No.
But
And a lot of paranormal investigators won't even.
here's the problem. And thank you for the fuckery on TV. Sorry I dropped the F-bomb, but that's what it is. You have teams that are now going in there saying all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have another team coming in there saying saying the same stuff. Just for either lives, which I do not agree with some of these residential cases being broadcasted live.
Right.
That should never be without the people's permission.
Exactly. Or you pay for it. You know, someone sells tickets to the live and yeah, I know a team who's doing that. So you've got all these individuals coming in, and then you finally get a reputable team in there. They've got more of an issue now because they've had to deal with all these other BS teams.
Right.
Yeah, because they have to convince these people that the other 2 or 3 teams were wrong.
Exactly.
And that's hard to do.
They're dealing with a whole lot of more complex
Right.
than just the spiritual PTSD. They're dealing with trust issues.
Yeah.
They're dealing with who's actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Who can we actually go to and get the help from?
And the other teams are causing more problems with them because as soon as you tell somebody, oh, you got something in your house and it's not good, it's not this and that, now you just add more mental issues to that person or the entire family that the real team that goes in there now has their hands completely filled.
Yeah. How do you rectify a situation like that?
Exactly.
Right. One of the books that I read was by Alex Matsuo. And one of the things that she talks about is when you're creating your paranormal team and your documents and all this other stuff. And the thing that she hates the most is the people that go in there and misdiagnose the situation. And then we spend all of our time trying to undiagnose or to diagnose that situation to where it takes away the misdiagnosis. You know, we have to find a way to prove that there's not nothing, that there's not a demon, that it's just angry grandpa. You know, grandpa wasn't a demon, but yeah, he's just a little bit pissed off because
grumpy.
You moved his pipe, put it back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to spend all of our time trying to convince them something bad isn't something bad. I mean, grandpa's not going to hurt you.
Right.
So it's one of those things that her book made a huge impression on me when I first read it. And when people ask me, hey, what should I have a new paranormal investigator learn? That book. You need to learn Alex Matsuo's first book on paranormal investigations, especially residentials, because those people have to live there when you're done.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so one of my things is, you know, Carl hears me say this all the time. Don't investigate your own home. because you have to live there at night.
Right.
You know, you have to sleep there. You have to live there. And so when you investigate someone's home, I go in there with the intention to clear it. I don't go in there with the intention to investigate it and find out what it is. I go in there with the intention to find out what it is and get it out of there.
Right.
That's what they want. I've had people who wanted to keep the spirit, but they didn't want it to be angry anymore. Harder, but can be done.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. But that's how I deal with residentials. I go in to solve the problem, and that's it.
No, we haven't had one in a while.
Nope, because the way we take care of them.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep, I kind of take care of them over the phone now.
As
So,
much.
but did we have some questions in here, Carl?
Yeah, we had Christine brought one in that said, I've had many dreams with people that have passed, like my dad, my late husband, grandmas, and my brother. Does this mean anything?
Yeah, they're sending you messages to let you know that they're okay, or that, hey, they're reliving some times with you as well. That kind of stuff. It's not
Right.
usually, it just means, hey, they're thinking about you, or subconsciously you're thinking of them.
Right. And then Lorna put in there, when I was in the Navy, I saw a beam at the end of my bed. Thankfully, I got to speak to a chaplain who was open to it and helped me through it.
Now, my question is when you were in the Navy and you saw that, where were you in the Navy?
Exactly.
Because I know that there's a lot of sightings in, you know, over the Norfolk Air Station there, Naval Air Station. So
Well, you're going to have a lot of sightings on any military vessel, you know, anywhere, because spirits, you know, they congregate where they're comfortable at. How many Navy people died that were comfortable on a ship or in a submarine?
I don't know. I know the USS Twerk in the inner Baltimore Harbor, that thing was haunted. And the thing is I don't know why, because it never had anybody. Okay, Patuxent River.
There you go.
Hey.
It's out by where I'm from. So she's not far from Aberdeen Proving Ground,
There's April.
which keeps coming up every time I turn around.
It does on a lot of our shows.
Yeah. Hello, April.
So, April, we've been talking about dreams. If you'd like to share some of yours.
And being in the Navy.
In the Navy.
Right. Shoot. Yeah.
April was in the Navy.
So,
And her husband.
and her sister and her brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're all Navy brats.
Well, they're military brats. Their kids are now military brats.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, are you part of a paranormal team up there, or
I have my own.
you have your own team?
I have my own, and we're working internationally to have Unity. We have about, I think, as of today, 175 teams on the Unity
Really?
internationally,
Wow.
All from up in that area or all over?
all over the globe.
Because that's what we're all part of, the Paraunity. You know, I'm tired of these teams arguing and fighting and back and forth and yelling out, and it's ridiculous. You know, we've all got to get along. We're all after one thing, to find out.
Same journey, same exact.
We take different ways of getting there. Each investigator's got a different way of investigating. But we all believe in the same thing and going for the same answers.
Oh, the hoodie.
So
Yeah.
Paraunity,
Sure.
it's got to start coming back.
A little warm for a hoodie, but
Yep. So this is the sweatshirt that I won from Lauren.
Oh,
I'll take a hug.
I'll take a hug.
You know, that's what we're known for. I mean, well, it's just me now. I guess I'm big enough to be a team,
yeah, you
but
are.
that was, you know, all that paranormal. We were always giving free hugs. We even have signs at our when we're at expos and stuff at our areas.
Well, yeah, I know Chris gives good hugs.
I can outdo him. You know that.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you said that, I do remember seeing those shirts up there at the Paracon up in here in Iowa.
I'm gonna redesign. I've made a couple new designs that I want to put on the shirts, and I come up with a new saying too. So, like, you know, our ghosts are people too. How we put that up everywhere, and
Right.
I what I want to put on the shirt is, well, you know what our logo is, the cross with the casket around it, and I want to have like a heartbeat line, you know, blip. Then it's our paranormal symbol again and again. Then underneath it says, I got to word this right. Oh, it is us that keep the paranormal alive.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, mine today was like this. You might be able to find some words in there. It looked like a barcode more than a heartbeat.
All this. She got to the hospital around 2:00 or so. Anyway, I get up there and meet her. And by this time, I get her in the ER. It's about 3:00, and she's looking at the clock on the wall. She goes, "I'm going to miss Carl's show." And I said, "Look, you're going to make the show one way or the other." She goes, "That's true." I said, "So let's just make sure you're alive. That'd be much better." So anyway.
Hey, I didn't count on getting home at 5
no,
5 o'clock.
No.
And I went to the pharmacy too. So, and we got stuck in traffic. So
You had a good day at the ER, actually.
Can you see my hat?
We the people.
We the people are pissed off.
Yeah, that's one you guys sent me.
No, you were showing
Or,
shirt.
no, that was yeah.
That was Farrah's.
Oh,
No.
There's ours.
No, that was
I
their.
like that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
ain't
all the
that.
hats they sent us in that box.
Oh yeah, that wasn't them. That was the other group.
Yeah.
You see, my the
What's
co-founder of my paranormal team is my pastor. So we went with the cross and everything on our shirts.
Justin and them. That was in that box.
Yeah.
But
I got
How I won.
a story here.
Someone else put it.
When Lauren was talking about, you know, TV, and I've gone to different investigations and have actually asked, "Where's the TV crew? What did you expect?" You know, I was in Ohio. I'd done a couple investigations, and I'd stopped at a convenience store, and I had my shirt on from the Ohio Men's Reformatory. I'd done an investigation in there.
Yeah.
Just the night before, so I'd gotten a shirt when I was there, and I'm in there and I'm going up to pay for something at the counter, and there's this group of like 6 people, and they kind of just followed me around. They were looking around shelves and stuff at me, and I never gave it 2 thoughts. So I get up to pay, and they stop me, and they asked me if I was the bald-headed guy from Ghost Hunters.
Oh.
If you were Grant.
Yes. So I looked at him, and I looked
I
at
would
him.
have
and
said,
said,
I
"Well,
would've
yes,
said
I
yeah.
am."
Yeah, there you go.
And they go, "Can we have your autograph?" I said, "Sure." So I autographed a bunch
How
of
you
stuff.
spell it?
I signed my name,
Oh,
but none of them knew the difference.
No.
And they were just thrilled. They were like running out to the cards going, "Ah!" And so I finally paid for my stuff, and the cashier goes, "Are you really him?" And I went, "Hell no."
April, yes.
That's funny.
It's German. There's a German connection to your house. The family that built it was more than likely of German descent.
Maybe Russian or something like that.
Oh, German.
So, like I said, I'm going with German. Just feeling
Could
it.
be. Could be.
I'm usually pretty good about that. Plus, there's a lot of German influences in Wisconsin anyway. Rylander to be one of them. You know, the whole town was founded by Germans.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the climate there is very similar to Germany's. So, but again, I know more than I'm supposed to because you're my cousin.
Uh-oh. A kitty cat chasing.
Yeah, there's German history and Polish there where she's living at, where they moved to.
Well, I don't know if I'd be telling people Polish. Of course, we're not allowed to do Polak jokes anymore because of, we're supposed to be politically correct now. But back in the 70s, we definitely would have done Polak jokes.
Yeah.
So, whole
Politically
different ballgame
correct.
now. So, but,
Anyway.
yeah, I'd have to do a little bit more research, April, on your area. But I'm just going with my gut and my what I'm being told. Lorna, you can talk about this anytime you want. If you have more questions, please ask. Come back Mondays, Tuesdays. We talk paranormal every Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
So, Lauren, how did you get started in the paranormal?
Well, I've always been in the paranormal. It's always found me. I found it. It's a marriage. Sometimes not happy. Well, yeah, I was born with the gifts, and I started training after I found out what it was. And I'm going to say about 22 years ago is when I started into the paranormal, because I look at my gifts as something I can use to help people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be famous with it. I don't want to be the glorified psychics you see on TV.
Yeah.
Bring their knocking table to some of their shows. I'm not naming any psychics on that one. I don't want to be that. I want to help people. I want to do what I can to help the living and the dead and anything in between. Any entity that needs help.
Okay. And so, when was your first known paranormal experience?
When I was about 5.
Seems to be about the time.
Yeah.
For most of us, between 4 and 5 is when we start recognizing it. I think it's when our consciousness is mature enough to know that something's different.
Well, my grandfather, I knew he was dead. I watched them roll him out. I knew he was dead. I knew he was gone. Mm-hmm. And about 3 weeks later, I was walking past his room, and he was sitting on his bed.
Well,
and you were 5?
I was there and played with him.
Yeah.
And you were 5 when that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But in hindsight, like, my imaginary friends weren't imaginary.
Right.
Like, I can tag them down to decades of when they came from.
Yeah.
And they didn't move when we moved. And my mom said it even goes back further to when I was playing patty cake in the bathtub with someone who wasn't there.
Right.
So,
but, my sister had imaginary friends. I told my mom, I said, I just had friends. I didn't know that they were dead. So, and I'm going to let you answer Lorna's question there.
Do you think some people attract spirits more than others? Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, especially individuals. Well, everybody's got gifts, but it depends on the individual whether or not they're open to their gifts or slightly opened, or something's trying to tell them to open their gifts. Then they start attracting them more, like magnets. That's actually my nickname on the team, Paramagnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they always say that their favorite piece of equipment is me.
Yeah.
So
I just use other equipment to see what it does. If I want to find out the real truth, I call Denise.
Do you think that some people shouldn't be as open as they are with spirits?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So, because I see some people that get way too deep into it, and let the spirits run their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or at least let them think that that's what's running their life. Because if you open yourself up to everything, you quite possibly could be opening yourself up for possession.
Yeah, you know what you're...
Because you still don't know. I mean, even though we can see them and everything, are we really seeing what we're supposed to be seeing? Because, you know, masks happen for everybody. Spirits can wear a mask just like a person can.
And that's one thing that I told one of our collaborators, because he went with us to Mansfield Fire Museum. If you guys get a chance, go, because that place is, the reports on it, you only get 2 sentences online, but the actual activity is through the roof at the Fire Museum in Mansfield, Ohio. The director himself, when the collaborator was with us, he's got abilities. He's not sure what he is, but he can see them.
Mm-hmm.
When he first saw what was attached to the director, it was a female. And I had him stop for a second. I was like, just watch. Because I was watching this thing, this shapeshifter, go from a female to a male attachment.
That to me sounds more like an incubus succubus kind of thing going on.
That's exactly it. So I was watching it, and I had my collaborator just stop for a second. I was like, just watch. This isn't what it's trying to show itself as. This isn't what it is. This isn't what other mediums have come in and told him. This isn't what he thinks it is. Watch. And he stood there and he tapped in and watched. And he watched it transform from a female to a male, to an old man. So it wasn't portraying itself as what it actually was. It was something darker. It was something that was trying to make itself look like a friend that had died that the individual knew.
Yeah.
It automatically allowed him to open up and accept it that more.
Right.
That's why I tell people all the time, sometimes when you see children's spirits, they're not really children. Children are more apt to move on because if you tell them to go to the people who love them, they're going to move on. That's why I would tell people at the Sally House, why would there be a child haunting this place when there's no proof of any children dying here except for a 15-month-old boy in the 1800s, you know, not a little girl. So come on, be a little critical of what the stories are at these locations and be aware of what's going on. And Dee here, she says, are children more susceptible for visualizations than adults? Such a thing where we lose the ability with age while we are unaware of things around us. My thought is it's because we get desensitized. As we get older, we're told that's an imaginary friend. Don't do that. People are going to think you're crazy. Especially back 70s, 80s, 90s. If you saw a ghost and you told somebody about it, it was like, that was taboo. You didn't say that out loud. And so that's what happens to a lot of times. And a lot of times, tell me if I'm wrong, but parents will tell their kids, that wasn't a monster in your closet. That wasn't a ghost under your bed or whatever. You're just imagining it. So that's when we start shutting this all down and we don't see it anymore. I never shut mine down, even though my mom told me I was going to go in the nut house. I mean, she was not quiet about it at all. She goes, you tell people that you see spirits, they're going to lock you away. And, 1975, that was a possibility because a lot of those places were still open, like Pennhurst. So, I think Pennhurst closed down, in the 80s? So,
something like that.
Yeah, 80s or 90s.
Even, maybe.
So think about that. But what are your thoughts on that, Lauren?
I think it does. Children are able to see them for as long as they're allowed to. And by allowed to is there's so many environmental factors that come in, and not just parents, but society alone, like even religious teachings say that some of the Christian religious teachings say that seeing spirits is evil. You tell that to a little kid, they're going to shut down because they don't want to be evil. They don't want to feel evil. They don't want to be a part of that. And then you've got not only parents saying, please don't do that, please stop. Don't say that out loud in public. You've got grandparents who are doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
You've got teachers. I had a teacher, and this is really weird. I had a little, which this is what shut this ability down. I had a little bit of psychokinesis. It wasn't big time, but I do remember being able to just use my energy and move a pencil without touching it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a teacher tell me, "Don't do that," and slapped my hand. That
Were you in a religious school?
Episcopalian.
But the other kids thought that was pretty neat. What, right?
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
No, the other kids
If
had
I'd been the teacher, I would have thought it was awesome and went, okay,
Right.
we now have a science class going on. How can
Right.
this happen? That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do. Like, we had standardized testing, and that's what I would do when I was done, was just kind of play around with it. And she,
Woo.
She didn't like it.
no,
Well, you know, who are some of the most closed-minded people on the earth?
exactly.
Teachers. If it's not in that book, we're not talking about it.
Exactly.
Oh, unless we're trying to accuse your parents of hurting you, then that's all different. That's
Now you
cool.
have another question down here.
I've always thought that the spirits I encountered were good. What's the difference between me and people who experience bad spirits? My question for Lorna would be, are you religious? Have you been baptized? That's one of my things. And you see that, Rex? D. Lee is your best friend, Dave.
Yes, I
Yeah.
knew that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was hoping you did. Because I have some best friends I didn't know were my friends at all. Talking stalkers again.
Hey, how-
Don't get me
What's-
scared about
He
that.
probably went to Facebook jail and changed it.
what's your thoughts about heredity or inheriting the gifts you have? Did you have a mother, grandmother, other
Well,
relatives
They didn't talk to me about it till I was like
later?
27 when I had my child.
Yeah.
I did not know that my mom had abilities. She knew the shit that was going down in my house. She knew what was happening to me, and she still didn't do anything about it.
Oh, that's crap.
So
Hmm.
I confronted her after I had my child because I knew that my child was going to be gifted. Because for my whole entire pregnancy, it was just one visitation after another by anything and everything that could come through and visit.
Yep.
So I confronted her, and she revealed that she could see auras, that she saw my dad's aura right before he died.
What? I have a question on that too when we get done.
She also can do long distance shielding of other individuals, but she does not have the same abilities that I do. She
Right.
can sense spirits. She can sense evil, which would have helped a lot if she came through for me when I was growing up in the house that we were in. We have something that attached itself to our family line generations ago.
So you have a generational curse.
We'll call it that.
Well, that's what they would call it in. That's what Farah would have called it if you talked to her, and that's how that they would have dealt with getting rid of it. Would be dealing, going with generational curse clearing, and so. And back to Lorna, she said that she is a spiritual person and she has been baptized and has always heard the Holy Spirit. I would say that that's probably the reason why she doesn't have any interactions with non-good spirits. I can't say evil and I can't say demonic. I can basically say is only good spirits. So let's read this one. I was in my late 30s when I experienced the beyond. I promised my sister on her deathbed that I would quit drinking. That night she was put in her death room. I went home and drank that night. Laying in the bed, a bright white light came right into my bedroom window like it was an angry angel. I knew it was my sister and she was upset with me. Well, Gloria, I hope that you took that as a sign from her that you needed to quit drinking. There was a reason that you made that promise, and she was keeping you to it.
Yeah.
So, so back to the question I was going to have. You said your mom saw auras.
Yeah.
And so how does an aura change from living to dead?
It's like it drains a color.
So it kind of goes from in living color to black and white?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's how she knew the day that he was going to die is when he got that last little adrenaline boost that they get before death.
Right.
Got out of bed and went and had coffee with her, and she noticed then that his aura was like fading.
Yeah.
And so when he got up from there and went to the bathroom, he collapsed in the bathroom. And when she went to go get him, that's when she noticed that his aura was just black and white, not
No color.
no color.
Yeah.
So yeah, she knew.
April has a question. She says, What about people who think they hear the Holy Spirit talk to them nonstop and tell them what to do down to daily tasks? That
doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right. That sounds like controlling, and
Yeah,
that's
that's not normal.
That sounds like
not
something
the Holy Spirit.
That ain't the Holy Spirit. Doesn't do that.
Yeah, I think that's somebody who's obsessive compulsive.
That's somebody appearing to be wants them to think they're the
Charlie!
Holy
Charlie! Charlie!
Charlie!
Sorry, everybody else calls him Charles. We call him Charlie.
Spirit. I know.
We've known him since he was a young paranormal investigator.
He's young Charlie.
So,
Yeah.
but that's my thought on that, and apparently the consensus is I'm right.
No, that's not good.
That's not good.
So what Ron was asking was about it being hereditary, because in my family, it did not get my mother. It skipped my mother. And my grandmother had a little bit of that. She told me that I was going to have twins. Little did she know I didn't have twins, but I got a Gemini daughter, which is twins.
Yeah.
She's my last one. She's the one that's driving me crazy. But that's a whole other problem. But but my great grandmothers were both Native American. Not fully, but if we go back far enough, the Native American women in my family were shamans. They were the medicine women. So I'm finding out more and more about this as, my cousin's finding out stuff on my mother's father's side. And on my mother's side, I already knew about the shaman on that side. But this one, I'm just finding out. So I've got Cherokee and Blackfoot. And so apparently it skipped a few generations and it got me. And I believe both of my sisters have the ability. I do have I have a medium that's trying to push my sister into believing she has more
ability.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing it. Is it possible that medium is seeing something I'm not seeing? And could I be shut off because she's my sister?
That's possible too. But you are blood related. You have more of an insight than a stranger.
I have a lot of insight. So
Okay, my question is, why do some families have this down through their generations and others don't?
magnetism. So April has another question, and
I was going to
maybe
say,
you guys might know more about this. I have a thought.
I had no idea 5 planets were aligned. That just means you're on your phone too much, April. That's what that means.
My thought is that it is messing with our axes a little bit and sending more polarity.
Hey, man,
down
that's
to
what
the
happened to your
axes.
heart today.
Could be.
Hey, could
If I'd
have.
been on my phone, I would have found that out. Oh, well.
I just would have had to tell him, hey, Earth rotate a little faster so I can get out of this.
Yeah,
But
there you go.
the only thing I can think of is that it's the magnetism. You know, like when people say Mercury in retrograde. You know, I've never.
Got that song?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh,
It's an Age of Awakening, but I've never had anything like that until last month.
Right.
During that Mercury in retrograde, I was depressed. I was trying to set up an appointment with the doctor because it's like I'm really depressed. And could that be something that's affecting people with the 5 planets being aligned?
Very well could be.
And how long does that last? You know, how long does the effect of that last? It's like solar storms. How long does that affect us? I mean, I know you're not a scientist, so, but you know, we all have theories. Well, some of us only have one theory, but some of us have lots and lots of them, and our minds go everywhere. You're probably like me. You probably have lots and lots of them because Rex does too.
Yeah, I have a lot of theories. A lot of theories.
Okay, so as I've stated, Rex is my best friend, and I was having issues with my young son having night terrors at 3 a.m. I asked him what I should do. Mind you, I just installed LED lights in the house. He said that he would come over. He just walked on the porch, and the light blew out. Rex cleaned my house, and my son slept like a baby. So Rex, I have a house that needs to be cleaned.
Yeah, we need our house clean.
Come on.
So
I remember
Like
Dave
vacuuming.
telling me,
Oh, that kind of cleaning. Not.
yeah, but LEDs don't just burn out.
Oh, I know.
No.
I remember Dave telling me that the other day, right after the show.
Yeah, they don't burn out. I mean, they
Yep.
kind of go like
Yeah,
that.
they don't.
They drain.
Yeah, they don't
And,
blow up.
Yeah, they just don't go out.
They just don't go out and quit working.
No.
No,
Not
they're
unless they're defective.
Now, Lauren,
Huh.
the people you have on your team, do any of them have gifts?
I've got a couple of them. Well, I've got one who just recently discovered that anytime she's around a negative entity, she hot flashes. So that is her gift.
Boy, that sucks. It's like
Yeah,
going
well,
through menopause.
I wouldn't call that a
If they don't have gifts, what kind of equipment do they use?
They're using EMF detectors, just the same stuff that everybody else
Most
does.
stuff.
A couple of them love the REM teddies.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do they use any of the spirit boxes or apps or anything like that?
They do use the apps. There's only like a couple of apps that I trust more because a couple of them do open energetic portals, and I'm not all about that happening everywhere. The spirit boxes they do use. A couple of them really love the spirit box. Really love the Estes method. Really love it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still playing around with what they really like. I've asked them the question, what's your favorite piece of equipment? I don't know. I haven't gone through everything enough to play with, and I really want to see what.
well,
They don't use it to verify each thing like we do.
They do.
I may use one piece of equipment and turn around, go back in the same room again and use a different piece of equipment
Right.
to see if I get the same evidence.
They do.
Now
They
you
haven't played around with them enough.
was talking about two apps, and which two apps?
The Spiritus app
okay.
Yeah.
and Necrophonic is getting a little darker.
Really?
It's opening some energetic stuff.
Yeah.
I'm keeping a watch on.
Well, I mean, necromancy, and there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use Necroponics and we use Echo Box 3.
Echo Box 3.
We've got
Yeah.
we've got a lot out of Echo Box.
We've gotten great results with that.
Well, we're picky because I write code,
Right.
so I look at the code.
And
And
we
see
have
how-
a check.
So, needless to say, I look at it and I'll go, this app needs Google to work. If it needs Google to work, you don't need
It's
it.
junk.
Right.
Right.
Automatic.
You only should have internet access on
Yeah,
for that when you're downloading it.
Yeah,
and
Echo
upgrading
Box
it.
is no internet, nothing.
No internet. You can shut it off.
It's not
and
online or anything.
There's no words built into it. And we
That's
get full sentences out of it
Nice.
in different languages.
Nice.
So,
Well, the first time I was on the show with you, you asked it my name. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it came right out. Yeah, on before Denise and Ron really helped me on the show, I used to show the camera down here and do Echo Box sessions.
Yep.
People would ask questions in the chat room, and Echo Box would answer it before I read it.
Nice.
See, we're used to Echo Box and that SB7. That thing drives me nuts.
It drives me up a wall. I can't stand listening to it.
It's just a bunch of noise to me. But an Echo Box, I got an ear for it, and I don't know. I can just hear. I can hear stuff. The stuff that Katie, his box that he was using,
the ink box.
Yeah, I had an ear for his. His worked really good.
Yeah, he took
their investigation at
that reverb and everything he puts in it takes out a lot of that static.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand his where a lot of people they weren't used to that, and I said I can hear that because I'm used to it because it's similar to the Echo Box,
right?
But that SB7, I can't get.
I can't stand
get anything out of that.
I get a headache.
Nuts. I get a headache. Yeah.
I don't like using the SB7.
No. It's,
well.
Besides that, like I said, Echo Box has no words built in it. Necrophonics doesn't either.
Right.
You take SB7 to do a proper test. You go to a location, but before you get to that location, you check and see how many radio stations there are in a 100-mile area. Then I need you to set up recorders and an SB7 for each one of those radio stations. So when you're off doing your investigation, it timestamps, right? It said somebody's name. Okay, we timestamped that. Now we got to go back through each one of those 100 and see if it was said on that radio station.
Right.
Then you could prove to me SB7 works. You know, they have to have more proof that it's just not stopping at an exact word. So, but yeah, I mean, but the Echo Box, but then again, a lot of times when we're investigating with Denise and Ron, I'll ask a question. Denise goes, I know the answer. And I go, I know, but let it see.
Yeah.
And I've had dowsing rods interact with the Echo Box, asking questions. And we've had the Echo Boxes talk back and forth to each other. Me and Ron did that.
Yep.
Pretty
But
cool.
there are
doing an Echo Box.
Yeah. There are locations that we've been to. The Echo Box, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
Because I don't know if it's the location so old that they don't know what they're talking to.
Well, a perfect example of Echo Box. This
dowsing rods work great.
Ron can tell you a story down in the basement of the Sally house about the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Tell her that story. This proves Echo Box.
Oh.
You know which one I'm talking
about?
Oh,
yeah, I know. You want me to tell you now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, I had a group. I was down in the basement at Sally House as a day tour. And I had a group. I had about 20, 22 people down in the little basement. And we were having a good time. And I was having, there was a kid there. A kid, I don't know, 10, 12 years old. With his dad. He just went to his brother's football game at the college. So they stopped by the house and they're sitting in a chair. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm just having people ask questions. You know, what's your name and things like that. Well, it was, and the kid starts laughing like, really? He goes, okay, what's my dad's name? It says, I didn't know what his dad's name was. And it says his dad's name is, and the kid starts laughing. His dad goes, what did that say? And there, everybody in the room repeats it, you know, Robert. And he looks around, he goes, no, how would it know that? And then the kid goes, Dad, it said your name. He goes, and then he asked again. It said it again. Well, now this guy's getting a little flustered. It's like, how did you do that? I said, I'm not doing it. I'm just got the iPad. He goes, how does it know that? I said, well, the spirits down here, they just know a lot of stuff. And about that time, everybody in the room was kind of laughing. And I guess everybody upstairs could hear it. So anyway, these 3 ladies come down the steps. And we're all, just kind of still laughing. Well, the last lady gets down at the bottom of the steps, and she's, what are you doing down here? I mean, just the air went out of the room. Everybody got dead quiet, and I said, well, we're doing an Echovox session, and I said, it's, I gave her the layman's terms. It's, answering questions and things like that. And she goes, we don't believe in this stuff. I'm like, and everybody's kind of looking around. They had the same look on their face, like, what the hell are you doing here? Why did you pay $10 to come in a haunted house if you don't believe in this? Anyway, we started asking more questions. Well, the echo, completely dead. It wasn't doing anything. It was quit doing. It quit working. And everybody starts getting a little fidgety. And I'm like, I said, I asked some more questions. I'm asking questions. Their kids asking questions. Nothing. Completely dead. So I said, okay, let me shut it off and reboot it. Anyway, everybody starts talking, and I reboot everything, and I get it all. It's all set up. I got it all set up. Start asking questions again. Nothing. Well, the grumpy lady, she goes, well, this is boring. Let's go. As soon as they start walking up the steps, Echovox pops back on. Guess what it said? Bye, bitches.
It did.
It did. And it started. I got the steps. Everybody down there was laughing. And I just happened to be looking at the kid. He was sitting in a chair. When it said that, he went, and his dad said, yes, son, it did say that. And they came back down a little bit, and they said, what's everybody laughing about? I was like, nothing. Go.
That's awesome.
It was hilarious. That kid, the look on that kid's face.
We've had a lot of things like that happen up at the Sally house.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, we had the dueling Echovoxes. Sometimes they would talk to each other, and then other times they mimic each other.
Right.
They'd say the same thing. And we would ask a question, and they'd both answer at the same time.
Right.
And there were other times it just ignored us, and they just had a conversation.
And I've had it
weird.
Cuss me out like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I had to call a lady down in the basement some names that should not be called to ladies.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the names I'm getting embroidered on the back of my shirt.
Starts with a C.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't say it once.
Oh, no.
It said it, and she goes, did it say that?
Yep.
Takes a recorder and listens and goes, it said it, and it said it again over there. It said it 4 times. And this was at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, it's time for us to get out of the basement.
Yep.
If it's starting to talk like that, it's time for us to get out of the basement.
They're done. They're tired.
That was. Yeah. I think it was the same. That was the same night that Deb and Tony Pickman came over, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We went down the basement. Tony, he's holding the back of his arm right here. And I'm like, man, you got something bit you. It's like a bite mark. But when we got closer, the teeth were jagged.
And what was funny about that, now get this.
It was jagged teeth marks. It just wasn't regular teeth.
They were down. Crap. He was down in the basement with us. I had an SLS camera set up.
Yep.
Right? So we're sitting there. We see the stick figure on the wall. And I'm telling Tony, because I'm looking at my computer screen, telling him, there's a stick figure. I didn't tell him it was leaning down towards him. He's sitting there on the floor, and as this stick figure goes down and gets down by that shoulder, you see him go, ouch.
Yep.
We caught all that on the SLS. And as soon as that happened, he went upstairs and he had the bite marks on his shoulder.
Wow.
And I told you what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you had the SLS. Me, you, and Gary were down in the basement. We were having a lot of activity, and all of a sudden it started getting cooler down there. And then you had it sit. It was by the furnace, by the furnace there. And all of a sudden we were seeing like these
Yeah, we
four-legged,
seen
like
several little bitty stick figures.
and they would
Little imps.
they'd crawl over, and then one would stop, and then you'd see another one go over, and then like jump on top of the other one, and then another one would stack. They were stacking on top of each other. We're like, what are we looking at here?
Right. And all we could think
I
of.
told Denise, she was upstairs, and then after they all took off. I don't remember if they disappeared or what, or jumped off. It's like they created one big whatever.
They fed.
And then, yeah, we were pretty drained after that. And then we told Denise, she goes, "Oh yeah, those are the imps down there that I see." And I went,
That she sees all the time. But we caught him on
Okay.
the SLS.
"Yeah, we saw it."
Cool.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know if your team uses an SLS or.
We are in the process of getting one built.
We had no idea what we were looking
I
at.
had one.
But we watched.
I made my own out of Connect 360 and hooked it up to
Yep.
a laptop when we
That's
was
what I
doing all
did.
that. Now
Cost me
we
20
have,
bucks.
and Gary's bringing up his handheld
Yeah,
SLS that we have now.
Yeah, they're bringing that. They're bringing all that.
Yeah, we're bringing that all up.
Yeah,
Well, Gary will have his, and you'll have yours, right? You're gonna have
No,
two.
I'm not going to bring mine.
Oh, you're not bringing-
We're just going
okay.
to use the handheld.
Okay.
you're gonna pack light, huh?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm
Dara-
packing light.
Yeah, Dara, that C word was big in that room, especially when we had the heroin addicts in there too.
Yeah.
I mean, that night that Tony and Deb was there with us, a lot
That
of
was-
things happened. Because up in that baby room,
Nursery, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
is where I got attacked. And I had to ask Tony the next day if he'd ever been attacked like that.
Yes.
And he had.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I
he
think
said,
we
"You
have a
did
special-
too?" And I said, "Yeah."
There was whatever was in that house was, it could be whatever it wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean,
Do
to this
whatever
day,
it wanted.
yeah, I had a lot of people say, "Well, we didn't know Deb and Tony. We didn't even meet them till
Are
later."
you
on."
hurting?
I was pulling this off. The
Oh,
Tape.
the tape was pulling my skin.
I don't know the expression on your face. I wish I'll have to snapshot that later on after the show.
Yeah, thank goodness I was way back here.
But yeah, a lot of people ask me, "Do you think Tony Pickman saw a little girl
Yeah.
that he?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I actually think that's what he saw." Not, I
But
don't.
was that
That's what
put?
it is.
Now there's a question. Was that put in his mind by that very first person
Probably.
that came in there that named it Sally?
No, this
actually-
was he was having this before.
Well, he didn't see her until Halloween of the following year. So he moved in December, New Year's Eve, and then Halloween is when he saw this little girl. I think that it was showing itself as a little girl so that
Right.
he could tell Deb, "Oh, look, it's this pretty little girl.
Yeah, it's a cute little girl.
Here she
Or-
is. Here's what I'm seeing. Acceptance.
Yep.
Right.
Invitation.
Yep.
All that. And that's what demons do. They try to tell you that that they're your best friend.
I don't know what was in
That
it.
goes
It
to show
wasn't
you a demon can show themselves as whatever they want. Once you decide.
right. It was a dark entity that was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say was past tense because
Yeah.
it is past tense.
But
Yeah, Deb and Tony
It
showed
was
us
cleared.
all the photo albums that they had
Yeah.
of his
Now,
tactics.
Lauren, have you ever ran into situations like what we were just discussing, where team members have been attacked or you've been attacked?
Oh yeah.
Scratch?
Yeah. I bet.
Oh yeah. Bill Manchin has a child that isn't a child. So it decided to go after one of the investigators on a previous team that I was on, and it slapped him and scratched him on his inner thigh.
Where was this?
Bill Manchin.
Oh, I thought you said Vale Mansion. I was like, wow.
No.
Vale Mansion. Where's that?
It is in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Um,
Are you in Indiana?
no, I'm in Michigan.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
Because the lady that interviewed me on Friday, she was in Indiana, and a lot of the places that you've talked about are Indiana and Ohio.
Yeah.
We've been trying to build outward from Ohio on our locations. A lot of them are filled up because of the time of season.
Yep.
And
there is a haunted season, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, and we are taking the perspective of we don't have to always go to the event locations, investigation locations.
Right.
Why don't we actually look at some of these historical sites that we can actually donate money back into the community with
Mm-hmm.
and be a force of good instead of giving money to a lot of these investigation places that already have tons of money coming through them with these bigger groups.
Yeah.
Some of those events are just fun. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just fun to go hang out with the people, whether you get anything or not. But what's really bad is when you're doing an event like that and you're the guest investigator, and somebody decides that they want to do rituals at the location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that happened in Iowa, Rex.
Yeah.
I had to tell
the last tour.
I had to tell this girl, you cannot burn anything in the location. No candles are allowed.
Is that not a waiver or something?
Nobody reads those waivers. Do you read them?
Yeah, actually.
Most people
Well,
don't read them.
everybody was all spread out. I mean, it was a jail, but it wasn't a real big jail. But everyone was spread out.
Yeah, I could smell the candle.
And somebody said, "I smell something burning." And I went, "Oh, that's not good."
So they come and get me, and they have me go and tell the person. I get to be the bitch. I love it. And so I go in there and tell them, "Hey, you can't do that. You know, the first one thing is you're not supposed to clear the spirits from a location unless they want to go, and you're not going to do it during a
They
public
had the look on their
investigation."
face like, "Who are you to tell us?" I'm like, "You can't burn the building down." Hello.
We did have some weird.
I'm not going to go further than that. That's all I need to tell you.
Rex, do you remember all the people that were hanging out with Frank Bennett?
The two girls?
Right
Yes.
inside the door?
Yeah, they were the ones.
They were them.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Really? Because when I talked to them earlier that afternoon, they act like they'd never even been on an investigation before. They're asking me like basic questions.
They went to Josh Hurd, and Josh goes, "Denise is right. You know, you can't do that."
No.
I said.
Then the owner showed up, at the end. We told him, "Oh man." Luckily, they were gone.
I think one of the weirdest investigations I went on to was the day that you guys took off to go to Illinois, McPike. Me and Gary was doing the tours up at Sally House, and after we got done with that, we had to haul ass to Kansas City for an investigation at an old hospital.
Legit. Oh, the hospital, yeah.
We walk in there, and they go, "Well, the first thing we got to do, who's got guns?" And I went, "What?" And they go, "We got to clear the building first." And I went, "Oh, shit." So we go walking through this hospital. We're in a bad part of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And we walk by two of these rooms, and I said, "Hold it." I said, "We got to block these rooms off." There were piles, and I'm talking 3-foot tall piles of hypodermic needles. But yeah, we had to clear every room with somebody that had a gun before we could investigate it. That was the weirdest thing I'd ever been on.
Yeah, it was.
I'm just glad I got too sick to go.
Yeah, well, you was out of town.
No, we were invited on December 30th that year.
Yeah.
And I ended up with pneumonia. And
right. That's the second time we went down there.
Yeah, it was pretty damn cold that night, too.
And that ain't no lie.
Real cold.
Hospitals are real cold in the winter when there ain't no heat.
Well, I told Ron, I said, I didn't want to go because if those people were homeless and this was the only place that they could go to keep warm, I didn't want to kick them out.
Exactly. And the worst part about it, the other end, they were building brand new condos in the other part coming this way.
Never got done.
Never finished it.
No.
Howdy ho, Judy sister.
Oh, Judy.
Hey, Judy. But yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. I mean, I've seen some weird things, but that was one of the weirdest ones. And I'm glad we're done with that. And that
Yeah.
but
And the thing is, that's human.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Lauren, what was the strangest thing you've seen paranormal wise?
Ooh, paranormal wise.
Ooh.
Oh, I do have one. You don't have evidence, but it's burned in my memory forever. Ever seen a naked apparition?
No. I always wonder why they're all clothed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
seriously.
So there's a building in Detroit, the Orange Star House, and apparently back in the 80s, a guy died in the bathroom. We didn't get any more information about that. I wasn't going to tune in because bathroom, if we're going to run into him, we're going to run into him. Whatever. So we're on our investigation, and I kept seeing someone running by us in the basement. The first time I saw it, I thought it was naked. I didn't know. I didn't tune in. I was too busy trying to be with my co-lead. However, a little later in that night, we're sitting down in the cold body storage. And I see an arm and a leg come out of a wall. About 10 seconds later, I see literally the moon coming out of the other wall, walking through the walls. Yeah. Yeah.
We always
You can hear me on the voice recorder going, what the hell did I just
you're used to seeing the moon inside the building, right?
Yeah. I'm talking to Diane, trying to give her the details, but not trying to give her all the details. And she's like, I want to see it. I was like, no. Like,
No, you don't.
so the cold body storage was right next to another bathroom that hadn't been used since the 50s. So as we're coming out of the cold body storage, I hear rustling in this old bathroom. And I'm so sorry I did this. I take the flashlight and I'm shining, and you can see through dead 60-year-old male in detail, just standing there smiling. And I'm just like, Diane comes around the corner and she's looking at me like, what the heck is that? I'm like, yeah. At least we're sharing this experience now.
Yeah. That was ballsy of him, wasn't it?
Oh my God, yes, it was. But then you have to step back and go, here's a naked dead guy running around a house. He's the streaker. Forever the streaker.
Yep.
Well, at least it'll make you laugh the next time you're there and you happen to see him. You go, okay. So,
yeah.
You're the first one I've heard say they saw a naked one.
Yeah. Oh, it answers the question. When you die naked, do you get clothes? No, you don't. I swear, you do not. That is the details. Like I said, seared. And it's like that. It couldn't have been hotter or younger or not portly, not.
Well, the thing is he wants to be seen that way. He was
Right.
an exhibitionist.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was buried in clothes. He did have clothes.
Yeah.
He just liked running around. He liked the wind in his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He liked the breeze on his balls, apparently.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
So, hello, Reba and Savannah. I love you, girls. So, Lorna,
I was going to tell a joke till they got on there.
I have to say, I'm not saying you shouldn't cleanse your home. I'm just saying you shouldn't investigate your own home.
Right.
So cleansing is fine. Investigation of it, not so good. So just
She
keep
tells
that-
me that all the time, but I still do it.
Well, what you do you are.
I'm not investigating to see who's here. I see how many are here.
Right.
I will tell you, we used the Echo Box one New Year's Eve when we were drinking. We had
Not
the
even thinking
worst-
about.
We had the worst luck for that entire year, and that April, that was when Crystal was here.
Yep.
So they love y'all going back to doing that.
Yeah,
Thing.
doing their thing. They're playing with the games or whatever.
Well, tell them that we love them and behave. Becoming teenagers is hard.
That's
So,
what I mean. People with gifts and investigators, we see strange things.
Oh God, yeah.
And sometimes people go, "Oh no," and I'm going, "Oh yeah." I mean,
The other strange thing I have seen, and it was one of those deals that you watch too many horror movies and you start really checking this thing, make sure it's not. Trans-Allegheny, they have had reports of a goat on their 4th floor. They've caught goat noises, but nothing else. So I'm helping to. We had an investigator that provoked, and I'm helping to calm everything down on that floor because I was mad and I wanted everything to not hurt people. We are calming it down. We're sitting in the middle of one of the hallways, and I hear. I turn my light, and there's a goat in the damn hallway.
a real goat?
And I'm looking at it, feeling its energy, and going, "Are you demonic goat? Please don't let this be the horror movie that I die in."
Right.
Oh,
It's a white goat.
Huh.
So I'm looking at our tour guide, and he's just looking at me like, "I have never seen it. I've heard it, but I've never seen it." So I put the light down, and we're still talking like, "We are seeing. There's a goat. What the hell? We're a goat." And you hear it come up closer. Put the light on, and it's right in between us. We're looking at a damn goat. And it just starts walking away. And I'm sitting there just going, why is that me that always gets the weird? I get the naked guy, I get the ghost goat.
well, somebody's got to get it.
We've been lots of locations where a cat comes up there and rubs your leg, bumps against your leg. We've had that happen lots of times.
We usually get dogs.
Yeah.
We've gotten the dog EVPs, the barks.
Yep.
well, that's like out at the cemetery when we first started investigating our cemetery down there, right? The sheriff's department had always told us they had seen riders on horseback. They don't go to that cemetery anymore. They've seen all this, right? We've never seen it, or I haven't. We'll put it that way. We're out. Me and Pastor Gary's out one night. We was investigating. We went over and sat down at the table to have a drink and a snack. And we're sitting there, and we both turned at the exact same time to look behind the truck. We could hear the horses walking down the gravel road. Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, right?
Yeah.
So, a few months later, me and Gary and Randy's down there. We're getting done with the investigation about midnight, 1 o'clock. We're at the back of Gary's truck putting everything up. Me and Randy step off the side, smoke a cigarette. And at the same time, we both turned and looked. We heard a horse whinny. The next day, me and Gary went driving around, all around the area, 3-4 mile circle around it. There are no horses. So,
Well, you should show her the picture you got from your trail cam.
oh yeah. Let's see if I can bring that up.
I figured you had that locked and loaded, Carl.
I do. I got it right here.
Yep.
It's just a matter of maneuvering.
Oh, I got it in background. Just a second. Oh, I got it in overlay. Here we go. There you go, Lauren.
Oh, that's cool.
That's on a trail cam, yeah.
What do you see on that?
Wow.
Yeah.
beautiful, though.
Isn't that a good picture?
That's beautiful.
That was caught at our cemetery by a trail cam.
I love it. But I love animal ghosts. I love it. I love seeing them. I love interacting with them, even as crazy as it sounds.
But down there at that cemetery, you have Indians. You have a battalion of soldiers that people have seen that's been with us. The where you're at the cemetery, you can go as a crow flies 3 miles to the east, and you're at the Hans Mill massacre, where 17 Mormons were killed. Right? We had the Mormon Wars down in that county. Go 3 miles south. It acts like an evil place, I guess, is what I'm getting at. 3 miles south is where the Wisconsin brothers were murdered by the Bramer farmer that was all over the news here a couple years ago and everything. That's 3 miles south. So we have all that in our entire area of where the cemetery sits on top of a hill out in the middle of nowhere. And we do a camp out there and investigate. So it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that image.
Yeah, that was caught on a trail cam.
That's amazing.
And, you know, I see the horse in it. I see the rider on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
I've had other people tell me they've seen people standing by the horse that they see in it. So a lot of different things on it. But I'm a big believer in the outside, even in the paranormal, and I'm bringing one up with me to the investigation. We're setting a trail cam up in a room.
Oh, nice.
That way, if something moves by, it snaps a picture. Just like that. So we'll have that up there too.
Now, when I was at McPike, me and Jerome took these two ladies down in the basement in between sessions, down in the cellar, and Sharon had asked us to take, I guess she knew them. And anyway, we took them down. It was just us four in there. And they were just taking random pictures. And this one lady goes, yeah, I was told to put it in machine gun mode. And I was like, I don't know how to work her phone or anything. But she said, yeah, they just push this and it'll take a bunch of pictures. And I'm like, oh, okay. We were in there about 10 minutes. Anyway, we come back out. And next thing you know, Jerome's saying, hey, Ron, get over here. He goes, check this picture out. And I get down there. Anyway, she's got, it's like, I don't know, 20, 25 frames. And they're going by, you can see the entrance. And then it goes to the left. And in each frame, you can see, like, the chair coming into view. And then you see the full chair. And then it goes to the second chair. When it gets to the second chair, you see an arm, a shoulder, head. And then you see the full picture is a damn black cat with bright green eyes sitting in that second chair.
Oh, wow.
I mean, clear as crap. And I went, what? We showed the picture to Sharon. She goes, yeah, that's Shadow. That's a cat that was here when I bought the house. And I'm like, Sharon, she goes, yeah, that's him. She goes, where'd you get the picture? I said, your friends took it. She goes, yep, that's Shadow. Well, the cat's been dead for, I don't know,
5 years.
5 years at least. But the picture goes over to another empty chair, and then it goes over to a guy. It's a man standing. The pictures, the frames stop, but you see his hand, his shoulder, and his head. You get about this much left, and that's when it stops. But he's wearing a hat, but he's all solid black.
Oh, wow.
And Sandy, when we showed that, Sandy is the medium, one of the mediums there. She goes, that's Henry. She goes, that's what I see when we're down there, when Henry's in there. She goes, yeah, that's Henry there. I mean, it was clear.
That's amazing, though.
It was some of the best pictures I've seen.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, it's
amazing. Like Denise's guest last night.
Yeah,
With the new technology on the cell phones.
Yeah.
some of the pictures that we're getting and everything are amazing.
Yeah, they're as good as his $1,500 camera.
Yeah, well, you got
But they
that
got
too.
night vision.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he
it's
sells
like
$1,500 too. So
my new phone here, it's got slow motion built into it.
yeah.
So that's one nice thing about if you take a video, you can go slow and look through it.
Yep.
I'll tell you, I take my videos and I will put them on my personal computer and extract it frame by frame
Right.
so I can look at it. But I want to tell Ruth, I said, Ruth, we can't see your entire comment, so we'll have to, after the show, I'll have to read that because it may show up on Facebook, but it's not showing up in our chat.
Yeah.
So I can see it.
It does.
But you know what? We got 5 minutes left. So, Lauren, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on TikTok and Facebook, and I believe our Instagram account. All are the In Between Paranormal or Paranormal Group. My Facebook account is Lauren Moss Channel Medium, and that's pretty much it.
And do you
Or look at Denise's shirt.
Yeah.
Or yours.
So, are you doing any events anytime soon?
We are going to be doing a cemetery investigation in, God, is that really? Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like I said, my time has been running fast.
Well, the main thing is to make sure, is it a paid investigation for people to attend, or just you guys are going to be doing it and
It's
we're gonna
free.
be airing it?
It's free. Most of our investigations are free.
Okay. So, well, can't wait to hear about it. And I'm so happy that you got to be on here. Sorry I had to be late.
It's okay.
And I'm sorry you got to feel my heart palpitations.
It's okay. It's better to know where it came from now. It's good. We're good.
Oh, you read? Oh, okay. I missed that part.
Yeah, you were
Oh,
on the phone.
okay.
Yeah.
Rex,
Laura,
where can
you can
everybody
come back
find you?
anytime you want to on Paranormal Nation Radio.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, our
Rex?
listeners, man, they're liking what
See,
you're
we-
saying.
And he does mean that because we invited Rex and we told him the same thing. And now look, he's here every week.
I know.
Can't get rid of me.
Can't get rid of him.
Rex is running Bad Penny
But-
Paranormal.
Yeah.
He just keeps coming back. No, I'm happy.
And
No, we love Rex.
Lauren, you what are you doing July 30th?
July 30th? Right now, nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. I may send you an invite on StreamYard. We're
Okay.
going to be doing a live investigation at the Cox Cemetery, our cemetery down there, for the Paranormal Giving Tree through Things Network, where we're live on right now. And what it is, it's free to veterans
Okay.
to come with us. But we're going to be using StreamYard to go live. If you want to come on and see what you can see
Yeah.
down
Remote
there,
view. Yeah, a remote view.
yeah, a remote view.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
Or show up live.
Okay, we'll make sure we get you an invite sent there because, I mean, I know you've got the same ability Denise has got. The more people that see things down there, what's going on, because we have a grave down there that all I know is it says the unknown Indian.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's all it says on it. And it's a weird sight. Our equipment goes dead over that grave. And I've had one person tell me it's a baby buried there.
So we need to finish this up because we got another show coming on. So Rex,
no,
where
we
can-
don't.
No
Oh,
other
you
show.
don't?
There's not
No,
another
I'll
one
tell
on
you
Things-
after the show.
Okay, so there's nothing on Things Network coming on?
Yeah, there is over there. So we better end this.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Rex, where can everybody find you?
They can find me here on the Bill Rights Network every Saturday night with music, movies, and maybe more with my son. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. You can also find our page on Facebook, and you can also find me at All Out Paranormal on Facebook and Unexplainable Art as well on Facebook.
And you guys can
Denise?
find me every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, right here on the Bill of Rights Network and the Paranormal Pride Facebook page. as well as some other locations. So join me in 2 weeks for my guest, Clarissa. She's going to be talking about all the stuff she's got going on. And you can find me here Tuesday nights with Carl.
That's right. And always check out the Billerites Network. We have a list of all our shows over there. Check out Things Network and check out Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, where we're live at. So make sure you check all those out. And again, folks, we will see you next Tuesday night here on Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. Have a good evening. Bye.
See you.